Hey, John, how are you, buddy?
Things are good out here, Brandon. The out here in BC, we've got cherry blossoms as deep as the snow is in Ontario.
Yeah, we don't have snow, and we've got cherry blossoms too,
I,
John.
I know I'm not being very nice, am I?
Yeah, that's okay. That's
Being
okay.
a smug West Coaster.
That's it. That's it. So, yeah, no, everything's good. Everything's good. We've got, sunny day. It's going to start warming up. The snow's gone, not like last week or whenever you were schlagging me on that. But yeah, it's great, man. Hey, listen. So I know we chatted a little bit here, and I wanted to dive into a few things. And before everybody kind of runs away and goes, what are these guys talking about? I wanted to talk about the budget because we were talking about this. But more importantly, John and I thought how important it was to basically expand on this so that you can understand how to interpret different government programs and things like that. And we can also talk about it in terms of how to get some information out of that. You good with that, John?
Yeah, just to let everybody know, it's not our intention or our attempt to put you to sleep. I mean, any talk about the budget
No.
is a big ziz inducer, right? So, but there is stuff in it which hopefully in the long run will make your experience with IRCC easier.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so it was funny because we were talking about it, and then how this whole conversation came about is we were talking about it. There was a few points in it, and then we were talking about how that actually gets rolled out and what it actually means for you when you're looking at these things. Now, a lot of times, we get these announcements that come out, and we're like, yeah, okay, whatever, but there is some things that that are in there that you can actually maybe parse out of it and understand a little bit. So let's go into that. And one thing that I would like to talk about too is I'd like to wrap it up with client experience, because I'm a firm believer in actually client experience and being that's the value that we provide to people. Whereas when you know what I mean, when people are kind of sitting there, they've sent in an application, they're like, what happens now? Right. And I always joke, people are like, I'm paying you money to fill out forms. And I'm like, man, if you think I just fill out forms, you have no idea what I do. Think of it this way: when you're like laying in bed at night or trying to figure out what's going on with your file when it's actually gone into the IRCC black hole, we provide the guidance at thing, and we can tell you exactly where you're at. We can tell you where where things are at in terms of what to expect, right? And what's next. And I think that's the value. So, again, got to understand the application process, understand how to do all of that, understand how best to respond to something. I know when I get something, that's like, why are they asking that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might want to be advised properly. Okay, so let's talk about what are we going to talk about here? Let's talk about government announcements. Okay, so the budget. I know. Watch, we'll lose everybody now, John. They're like, oh my God, these guys are going to start talking about the budget. So there was a few things that came. Actually, you know what? Let me put it up here on the screen. There was a few things. Probably nobody can see that, anyways. You know what? Let's not put it on the screen. There was a few things in the budget there that were actually interesting. GCMS. John, why don't you tell people what GCMS is?
Okay. Now, GCMS. GCMS is the file system run by IRCC for their internal file management. It used to be called a FOSS notes and a CAPES notes. And I'm not going to bore you with boiling down those acronyms because it's not all that important. Be safe to say there used to be two separate systems in IRCC until about 6 or 7 years ago. They combined it into something called GCMS. And again, what they are, it's the internal file management system that IRCC officers use. You can get access to the officers' notes on GCMS, which is a very valuable tool, which we will expand upon today a bit and in future episodes. And you can get that through an access to information request, and it costs $5 and takes. How long does ATIP take these days, Brandon? About 60 days on average, would you say?
Oh man, you know what? I've had. There's no there's no actual rule in terms of ATIPs and getting information out that I'm finding.
Mhm.
I'm finding actually some of my stuff. I had something come out of, Cuba, like in record time. It was like 2 weeks, and the
Yeah.
embassy there is closed. They're running stuff out of Mexico, and especially with COVID.
So it's safe to say it's varied, right? But
It's varied. Yeah.
but it's an important tool for you and for us as representatives, in that we can dig deep into, say, a refusal and find out what the actual reasons were for the refusal, instead of just seeing some boilerplate that the visa office burps out. And then that allows us to, if necessary, reapply on your behalf with a stronger application. And I say GCMS is key in that, to overcoming refusal. So that's just one use of GCMS notes. You can also use GCMS notes to see where you are in the processing in processing times. You get a better idea if you go, what's happening, Brandon? What's happening to my file? It's been sitting in IRCC now for half a year. It's possible for us to get GCMS notes and determine kind of how much further you got to go.
There's only a few things that I wanted to add on to that too, John, is that, so it's an effective tool. The only people that can do an access to information request are basically, people that have status in Canada. So if you're overseas, you can't actually make that request under the privacy. So that's one thing. So we routinely do that on behalf of clients. The other thing that's important as well is that, oh geez, lost my thought there. You want to use that stuff pretty strategically, in terms of, sometimes you might not want to apply for it, because my understanding is that it can actually slow things down. So you want to be actually not filing it all the time, because then it actually goes over to a different department.
It's like taking your medicine. You only pop it out when you need it, right?
Right. Yeah.
and so, as I understand it, and this can lead us into talking about the government announcement, this is going to be replaced by an even better system.
Yeah. And again, the future, I think it's a wider strategy with the government. So again, one of the things that COVID has done is it's actually brought out all these new programs. It's brought out all these record numbers of things that actually, for people applying, and the government's actually recognized that and said, we need a better application system. We're going more online with things. And GCMS is not perfect. And anybody who works in that, you talk to the guys in government that actually have to work in that, it's not fun for them either. But the previous iteration, it was actually two systems. There was CAPES, right?
Yeah.
And FOSS, right? So Field Operational Support System, I think, was used by the border, CBSA, and then CAPES, which is the Computer Assisted Immigration Processing System.
Wow, look at you. Look at you.
Yeah,
look at
yeah. Acronyms.
Gigantic brain over there.
No, but that's actually what they amalgamated them into the global case management.
Yeah, no.
Right? Because it was two systems that were actually really horrible. You remember the old CAPES notes, right?
It's way better now. It's there is a marked improvement. And so it's going to be improved upon even more. That's the plan anyways.
But the other thing that's really important is global case management, the name of the system, right? It allows them to manage caseload, which the idea is, and this, for some people, you might see, why is my file, I submitted it here, why is it processed over here? I've submitted files to Manila before, and what happens is that they'll be processed in Mexico or Vietnam or something like that.
Yeah.
The idea is for the government to manage the backlog, so that they can actually move things along quicker, which better serves you, right?
Yeah.
So with global case management, they said that in the budget announcement, they're going to put $428 million over 5 years. To be able to, an enterprise-wide digital platform to replace the legacy GCMS. We'll see what that looks like. All right. Because again, computers can be tricky things. Okay, what else do we have in there? We had the accelerated pathways to permanent resident. We've been seeing all of these different announcements for all of these different programs, and I know John and I have been speaking about that the last few days.
Yeah.
But again, that was pretty interesting. There's something in there about the call center, John. What do you think about the call center, John? Be nice.
Well, well, you know, analogous to IRC's call center. I mean, call centers run by private businesses and other arms of government aren't always the easiest to get through, right? There could be a long wait time. And people who are at the first level of any call center aren't really decision makers. Like if you were to call your local internet service provider or your cell phone company and you get the first tier of customer service, they're really not going to be able to do much. They have to, send it up. And, the call center is kind of like the same thing. The people who work there can give you general information. They can do minor tasks, but there's no way they can provide detailed information about your file or make a decision or move it along or anything like that. So as everybody, well, I wouldn't say everybody knows, but I think everybody knows, and it's been my experience that a lot of times, if you want to find information now, it's much faster just simply to hit Google and go for it than to pick up the phone, call, talk to somebody when you can get a lot of that information online. So
when was the last time you called the call center, John?
I don't know. It's been many, many years. And again, I'm not here to slag or knock down the IRC's call center. It's just a tool that I don't use in my toolbox. I have other ways of getting that information, and either ATIP or just based on my experience, I can give a good idea of where a client's file lies. But there's always room for improvement, and I guess the call center's putting more money into capacity, and we'll see what happens.
Well, here's the thing. I'm with you. I only use the call center as a last resort, and unfortunately, for a lot of people that are kind of going through the immigration system and doing it themselves and stuff, it's actually their first choice, and it's actually I think the common misconception is with a lot of people is exactly that. It's a call center. They're not interpreting the law for you. They're just reporting on what they can do. And first off, if you're overseas, you can't use the call center anyways, right? It's only for applications that are inland. And secondly, I'll have to call here and there for different things. And wait times are they're like, oh, your expected wait time is 45 minutes. And it's like, really? And then, yeah, I don't know.
If you're going to use it, folks, get up first thing in the morning and call. Don't wait until the middle of the day. There's going to be a spike of callers in the middle of the day.
Here's a little tip too. And I don't. This was given to me a few years ago. If you're calling the call center, right, choose the French option. Did you know this one, John?
No.
Okay. So if you choose the French option, most of the officers are bilingual anyways, right? But there's less of a what's the word? There's less of a line for the French officers as opposed to the English officers, or so I'm told. And it's actually proven. So that's one thing that you can do is you can choose the French option, and then you can go through, and it might lessen the time a little bit or allow you to get through. Here's some stats though. So apparently, because I did a presentation last November with a really nice lady from the government, and she was analyzing and improving client experience. But in her presentation, she was saying that from 2019 to 2020, they fielded 4.3 million calls.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot of calls. That's a lot of calls. And the most often the complaint that they would get at the call center was wait times, because everyone's concerned about the wait times, right? What's going on with my application? Why is it taking so long? I actually just sent. Are you getting a lot of people asking about that, John?
Oh, COVID the pandemic has just thrown a hand grenade into the machinery of processing times. It's the worst I've ever seen it. And
Yeah.
I feel terrible for a lot of my clients, and indeed everybody who's got an application in right now, because at the beginning of all this, you could kind of give a general idea of how long it was going to take for a client to get a decision, and now I just say, it's totally unknown, because so many of the officers can't work from home on certain files. There's security concerns. They have to be in the office to do certain types of processing, and I don't want to sound flippant. I don't want to sound inconsiderate. But the answer a lot of times is hurry up and wait. We just don't know when this is going to improve, and maybe in the long run with this investment in the system, some resilience will be built in. So if ever there is I hate to say it, another pandemic or some sort of stress on the system, that IRCC will be IRCC. I know IRCC's system will be more resilient to shocks, and there won't be huge delays in processing times.
Yeah. Bad mojo, John.
Sorry, I know. Take it back. Can we rewind this? I'll take it. Can we cut that? Can we cut this?
No,
Although this is live.
It's live,
sorry,
buddy. Yeah.
Sorry.
We don't edit. So, you know what? It's funny. You just reminded me. I literally sent an email out to somebody today, and we were talking about I get a lot of people. They're citing old information with the processing times, and I keep telling them, like, I'm very honest with my clients. I'm like, I don't know, like, and I hate saying that. Like, I hate it. I'm like, I don't know, like, it's all out the window. Even IRCC on their website says with processing times, it's all out the window. And I had to explain to somebody today, I'm like, it was a caregiver file, right? Which the new caregiver files are actually processed in Edmonton. Okay. And Edmonton's been closed, and it's a paper-based application. So there's stacks and stacks and stacks of paper that are just sitting there. And again, I appreciate that there's government announcements that come out and says, oh, we're working on this, we're working on that. But you know what? There's a huge backlog there. And as much as like we're working on it, prior to the pandemic, it was a year of time. And now they've been sitting. Like, even when you go and type into what's my average processing time, it comes up as like, don't even their computer says, don't know, So it's frustrating for everybody, I think, in terms of processing times. And I really, I'm not slagging the government at all, because quite frankly, it's rough for everybody. It's rough for everybody. Listen, let's get back to the announcement a little bit. The other thing I was going to say was settlement, because we talk about settlement. There was something in there for a racialized newcomer women pilot initiative, and it was $15 million over 2 years. Now, this was announced back in 2018, and the purpose is to help people integrate in a little bit better with newcomer services. I have different views on settlement. I don't know about you. In terms, do you have any comments on that?
Well, could you define what you mean by settlement some more? Like things like credential assessment or job search? No,
more for the settlement services. And I find, because I worked in that a little bit prior to doing immigration work, right? And do you mind if I give my opinion on it?
Please do.
I never shy away from giving an opinion. So I found that I think it's awesome that they're putting money into these services because they're needed. However, sometimes I find that some of the services are better than others. And I'll say this to people all the time. When you're using government settlement services, be aware of what you're signing up for and what you're going to get out of it. And there's different services by different agencies. Okay, like there's different programs. I'm not going to start name dropping different programs, but there's a few different places, like in the Toronto area. I will tell people to go use those services all day long, because they have like really good mentorship programs where you can go and you can actually might lead to your first job. But I've also dealt with other stuff where, they've got you sitting there and, learning how to write a resume over a week or 2 weeks when, you don't need that. You need to actually get working. Right. Mm-hmm. And language, there was one that had language program, which was a prerequisite to a technical program in accounting, which the person didn't need language skills. But again, I think it's good that they're putting money into that stuff, but I just, it's the rollout. I hope that it gets rolled out properly and that it's actually effective. And I think that's where kind of things tend to diverge a little bit.
Yeah,
what do you think?
no, but well, again, I'm not knocking the government, and it's even on a personal level, to be able to execute plans into reality is always a challenge. And so
You're so nice.
Well,
it's true though. It's true.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair.
You can't throw stones, right?
Yeah.
So I'm me, Brandon. I'm never shy to criticizing our political overlords, but at the same time, we have to understand this is the nature of things, right? So wait and see. The money's been allocated. We'll see if it's we'll see what effect it has. And again, so much of what is important right now, as you touched upon, is the government's going to have to start getting down those processing times once the pandemic eases, and there's going to have to be a queue of projects that are going to take precedence over other.
Yeah. Hey guys, listen, just a quick note. I know that we've got a few people that are, more than a few people that are watching live here. If you have any questions, we're just sitting here, if you guys want to change course here and ask some stuff, we're more than happy to answer some stuff. So please feel free to type that into the chat there, and we'll certainly do that. Client experience, John, let's go back to that. Like, what do you, what's your thoughts on that in terms of what types of things can you do to make your client's life easier?
Well, one thing I like to do, and this kind of ties in with client experience, go away from the call center now towards IRCC's website, is two parts. So, and I just did 4 there, and that's not a gang symbol, so I'm sorry. 2 parts. One is I like to tell my clients when they come on board, I go, look, a lot of what my services are akin to, being like an accountant. You could read the tax code all day, but if you want to get your application done, your tax return done, you can either do it yourself if you're comfortable with the process and the legalese and the information that's available in different parts of the Government of Canada website, or you can retain someone like me to help you. It's very similar to what we do with an accountant. The second part, as I say, the other thing I do is I'm a navigator of bureaucracy. So you can go onto the IRCC's website. A lot of their information is out there, and they especially put it online for stakeholders, which includes you, the public. But it's dissipated. It's all over the place. There's bits of information here, and there's links that take you to bits of information there that go back and take you to the original page. I try and make sense for you on that, and that's my client experience. I help you understand and navigate what you're facing. Quite often, I will send emails to clients that will say, this is what this means. Here's the link to the government website. And I say, this is what they're trying to say, as an example. And I find that I get good feedback on that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm gonna give my 2 cents in like 2 seconds, and then we've got Adam and Jenny. They've asked some questions, so
Sure.
I'm just gonna comment real quick because I want to answer some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, client experience is I want to take people through the process as quickly, as cost effectively, and as little gray hair on their heads as possible. So
Yes.
as per you say you navigate government bureaucracy. I just want to get people in and out as quickly as they can in the cheapest, quickest, and most fun way possible, if you will. I figure the client experience is basically when you go on a journey, right? It's always nice, like, and I know this probably other people are using the same thing, right? Well, not probably. Everyone talks, oh, let's take a journey, right? You're there as a guide, right? We're there as a guide. That's our role. And like
navigator. Yeah,
I know it's funny. We say kind of the same stuff in different terms, but it's like, I'm there to kind of lead people through and be like, oh, I always use the thing that choose your own adventure books. And maybe I'm dating myself. It's like, oh, if you get this, you can go to this page, or, oh, if you go to choose this, then you're going to hear, oh, bad luck, you just landed in a pit of snakes. Like, choose which way to go. I'm there to tell you, like, don't take that route because that leads you somewhere else. All right. Anyways, let's deal with some questions here. All right. So Adam, what do we got here? Hi, Adam. Adam, you've been here before, man. I know the name. So thanks for coming out. Do you guys deal with IEC applicants? I do. How about you, John?
I do. I help IAC applicants who are already in Canada apply for PR. I have lots and lots and lots of, especially young people from the Commonwealth countries who are here on IEC work permits who want to transition to PR. I don't help people apply for IEC simply because I think the process is very straightforward and simple. So I say go off and do it yourself once you get your IEC work permit and you want to stay permanently or extend into another work permit or a study permit. Come see me and I can help you at that point.
Yeah, so I deal with IEC as well, and mostly with young professionals in the working holiday. But I'm with John, and it's funny. I'm actually one of the biggest trip ups that I see with people, and is that that's the word I'm looking for. They don't actually. A lot of times, I'll get people and they'll come under the IEC. And they'll work and say, you come from Ireland, you get a 2-year work permit. And then they get here and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'll have an adventure, I'll do whatever I'm going to do. And then it's like, I actually like it here and I want to stay. So then what happens is that, that time that you spend in Canada, that work permit, you can actually gain some very valuable points off of that with the Canadian work experience if you get the proper work experience. And a lot of people don't understand what actually the definition of skilled work is. So one of the things that I like to do with people that are doing IEC firstly is basically say to them like, hey, if you're ever thinking about coming and staying, make sure that you're in the right job so you can use that work experience, because that Canadian work experience is gold. It's gold. Right. And especially for somebody there that's young and needs to, tack on an extra 40, you can tack on an extra 40 points just with a year of skilled work experience. But if you're working in a job that actually is not skilled, then, that's it. So go ahead.
No, it's all about intent. Plenty of people come to Canada on IEC simply to have what the English call a gap year. Come here, have a year, 2 years of fun and running around and working at ski resorts or agriculture places, farms, and there's no intent to stay here permanently, and that's fine. But again, if your intent to stay here is to stay here permanently, you have to get that skilled work under your belt. You're right.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's the biggest mistake, because I like you, John, I'll deal with a lot of people afterwards and they'll come into the office and they'll be like, well, I've been doing this. I've been working at Tim Hortons or whatever. I'm like, there's a lot of jobs that you can get that are skilled work experience. And if you have any designs on that, then you can do that and still do all the other stuff if you understand what those are. Anyways, Adam, I know that's actually morphed into something else, but if you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, now one other question here. We got Jenny. How do you process with live-in caregiver during this period? How do I process with live-in caregivers? You want me to grab that, John?
Yeah.
Because I know I do more caregivers in that respect. Okay, so how do we process? So there's not a lot of processing going on. First off, there is no live-in caregiver program right now. Okay. There was the live-in caregiver, then there was the in-home caregiver, and then there was an interim caregiver, and there's a home child care provider pilot. And basically, yeah. So, what can I say? So, it's very difficult to process that unless you have an employer. You can get into the queue, and the government's actually said that they're actually going to push those along. So I process those. I know John doesn't do a lot of those, but if you have any questions, Jenny, that are outside of that, because we're going to wrap up, we do process them, and please feel free to reach out. All right. Cool. Is there anything else there, John?
No, I think we're good for today. We're going to talk a lot more about this stuff and other things when we come back together on Thursday.
Okay, cool. I'm going to throw a few things up here real quick, and I want to share a few things. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, I'm going to switch. Jenny's like, thank you. Yeah, Jenny, no worries. And thanks for coming out. And if you, again, just send us a message or whatever if you need some help with that, and we can certainly help out. And then Adam has written something here. That's what I'm looking for at. In fact, from my understanding, you need 1 year of NOC 0 A or B. Awesome. Skilled work experience. Do you think it's worth looking for jobs before going after the W working holiday visa to then apply under CEC? Luckily, my current job falls under the global talent stream, so I've been trying to assess my options. Fantastic. Oh, man, I love that.
Yeah, you're in a good position there.
Yeah. So we got to wrap up here, but you know what? I'd actually like to tackle that more with the global talent stream and IEC and different ways to transition out of that. Are you game for that, John?
Totally. Be a good talk to have.
I think that's a great talk. So let's put that down. Adam, thanks for that. I'll just kind of tackle that real quick. So yes, 1 year, NOC OA or B. 0 A or B is basically skilled work experience. So that's the first thing. Do you think it's worth looking for jobs after, and then apply under CEC? Yes, I do. But again, it's all about strategy and how you want to do that. And luckily, current job falls under global talent stream. Fantastic. Global talent stream, though, it does fall under that, and that's a whole different thing there, because there's a number of different benefits that you have to show under that thing. Like there's compulsory and complementary things. So it is a little bit more complicated, and you have to be a little bit more evolved in your work experience to be able to show that you're imparting that knowledge there. So we can talk about that. But I'm going to leave it at that. That's actually, we're going to take note of that. And I think we'll come back and we'll revisit that. All right, let's wrap up, man, because I want to stick to the time here. John, any parting words? Because I'm going to give the wrap up that we always give. But did you have any parting words or no?
We're all good.
Okay, I'm going to slap something up here on the screen, which is our thing. Guys, first off, if you want to keep connected with us, we're actually putting a lot more information in our community there, which is it's on, well, we're on Facebook, right? So it's Facebook groups, My Second Passport. So if you're not already in there, please go join that. It's a great place to grab some information. And over time, we're putting in more and more stuff. There's a book out there, which is Second Passport. You can grab online, and you can find that on Amazon. And also, if you want, you can book a personalized consultation if there's anything that you need help with, either with John or myself, and the link is right there. Lastly, I want to tell you something else. We actually have an immigration blueprint challenge that's coming up. Now, mysecondpassport.ca/challenge. This is a 5-day challenge, and it's actually been constructed to give you a plan right up front. Okay, and that's that. You're going to be hearing a little bit more about that as we go on. But I just wanted to throw that out there because we were doing the planning for it last week, and it's very exciting stuff. I love doing those, man. And the people that, you know, what's awesome is the people that we get together in that group. Such a good bunch of people, man. So it's fun. All right. Let's leave it at that, John.
All right, man.
Enjoy your cherry blossoms.
All right. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you all on Thursday.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you on Thursday. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday from 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Pacific. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye, John. Take care, bud.
See you, man.
See ya.